Good morning, everyone. This is going to be a great meeting today. We're talking about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that is breaking the ceiling, actually getting into markets that really matter to you. I want to be very clear. If you serve markets that are less than $1 million a year and you're loving it, that's great. Stick with what you're good at. I'm not trying to change your mind. That's not the case. But if you do want to take this journey with me, if you do want to try and go out and get into the ultra luxury space, this meeting is for you. We're going to be letting in all these members of my mastermind. This is called Edmund's Mastermind. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to come along for future meetings, definitely let us know. You can send me a direct message. The information is in the description below. And with all that said, we're going to get everyone in to really address the issues that matter most to you. So let's go ahead and get them in here right now. Okay, everyone is now starting to come into the meeting. Absolutely love having you here. We've got some great stuff. Oh boy, we got Dirk in Denver. He is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's what we love about the guy, and a real master at AI video. I've been watching a lot of that stuff there, which has been a lot of fun. Very good. We got to probably do like a duo at some time. Maybe we could do like a. Actually, you know what we should do? We should probably have a fight. Like a fight scene. We could do that. I think that would be kind of cool. I
I'm
don't know
up
if
for
that's
it.
anything that you do.
Everything I'm doing, I've learned from you. So let's do this.
Yeah, it should be fun. So let's just see who else we got coming in here. Okay, Greg, can't start the meeting without Greg. That's great. Johnny is here. She's hiding in the background there, but I see you, Johnny. Kenny Bellini in California. Laura Marquette, that's great. Lavette, that's great. Peggy, good to have you. Hassan is joining us now. Okay, it's a bitch and disco time. So we're going to be getting into the luxury market and the luxury space. I know a lot of you are into the luxury space, and I definitely want to talk about that. A lot of you are not in the luxury space. I'd like to convince you, or at least make the argument about why the luxury space is a great place to be. Um, this is not a meeting to change you, though. If you say to me, "Hey Ed, all of my deals are between 200 and $500,000 a year, and I do 25 of those a year, and I'm very, very happy," God bless you. That's great. We love it. Stick with that. Um, if, on the other hand, you want to try and figure out just what I'm about to show you mathematically, how this whole thing works, I think that would be great. And we could definitely talk about that. In other words, this meeting has never been about changing your mind. It's about giving you options. And I want you to feel as though you have the options here to grow out a great business. So that said, okay, we got a couple other people coming in. I always try and get everybody in. Jonathan Hedeka and good stuff. Okay, first of all, Dirk, what's the price point that you're working in now? You got to unmute.
Um, I'm kind of the 750,000 to a million is where most of my people fall.
And are there higher price homes in your territory?
Yeah, I mean, I cover kind of the Denver metro belt loop. So, I mean, average in our area is a little over 775. But there's definitely two, three, $4 million properties all
Okay.
around me.
Okay. And I'm going to throw the same thing out to Greg, Hedeka, and Jonathan. If I could just ask Greg first, what's your average price point? Again, if it's too personal, say, "Hey Ed, you're being nosy." But
No,
yeah.
I'm not going to say it's too personal. I'm just going to say that maybe I'm in the wrong group. My 2025 average was 434. The median was a little less than that. Um, but yeah, in the 430s.
Oh,
To the second part of your question, are there higher price points in my territory? Sure, we just had one close for 21 million.
okay. So but I hope you think you're in the right group. I'd be sad if you left, you know.
I'm the underdog, I'll say. I've got a lot to learn.
Okay, good. Well, that's what
But you
it's.
know, they say if you want to soar with the eagles, you can't hang with the turkeys. So I'm glad I'm with a bunch of eagles.
Okay. I've been getting a lot of these like animal analogies. My favorite one was a bee doesn't have to explain to a fly why honey is better than shit. I really like that one. I've been seeing that a lot when I get into arguments with anonymous people online. That's kind of the thing. Who else wants to
There's a
chime?
whole book, The Proximity Principle. Read it if you haven't.
Okay,
Easy read.
good. I like. Does it have lots of pictures? I like books with pictures in it. I'm just kidding. Okay. Hedeka, Jonathan, anyone you want to, Hassan, any of you want to chime in and tell me what the price points are in your territories?
I
I'll go.
can,
I've
Edmund. So
Oh,
I
hold
guess
on, Hassan. Let's get Jonathan and then Hassan and then Hedeka if she'd like to.
so. I am in the Boston metro area, and I get our prices go anywhere from is low. A three-bedroom in a way out neighborhood is going to be like $800,000, but our typical transactions in our specific area, the Needham, West End, Wellesley area, are anywhere from like 1.3 and up. Averaging probably around 1.6 or 1.7.
Okay, good. Good. And we're going to be getting, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. It won't hurt too much.
It always hurts, Edmund.
Okay. Hassan, were you going to chime in?
Yeah. So I mean, I've had deals that were in the 900 range.
Mhm.
Average, I'd say, is just under 400
Okay.
based on prices. I mean, I've done stuff a lot less than that. I deal with a lot of I have investor clients that buy for fix and flip and to rent. And in Detroit, I mean, you can pick up a home for 100 grand and renovate it. So there are like a lot of really small deals like that that I do for investor clients. But on average, I'd say it's about 375 to 400.
Okay. Good, 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 good. Again, I'm not throwing a cow at the 375 to 400. That's not what the meeting here is about. It's just about trying to talk and at least take a look mathematically why you might want to try and upgrade. And the answer might be that you've got a great system cranking the smaller deals out. I'm not taking anybody away from that. Um, Hedeka, did you want to chime in on this or
Sure. Yeah. Hi.
okay.
I'm Hedika Azizi from uh, Long Island, Great Neck, Rosin area. So basically, my area is all luxury. Technically, we handle co-ops that can be as low as I sold $150,000 studio also, but then it goes up to millions. So my line of work was mostly like a million range, million to two, but I
Okay.
would really would love to, just reach out to higher, multi-millions. That's my goal. So
Good. Love
yeah.
it. That's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
Money, money, money,
That's
money,
my
money.
goal.
Money, money, money. We love
Money,
it.
money, money.
Money, 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 money. Okay, so we're going to take a look at it. Let me just let you in on why this actually matters. Um, Broker A does 200,000, sorry, 25 deals at $200,000 on average each. Broker B does one deal at $5 million. Who made more money? Nobody wants to answer this.
Broker B.
Broker B? Actually, they made exactly, if you look at it, it depends upon how you look at it. If it's a 2.5% commission on each of these, again, we're going to make some assumptions here. It's $125,000 in GCI, gross commission income, in both instances. Now, the reality is the one who made the most money, I would say it's the guy with a single $5 million deal. Why? Because they're not talking about how much you have to work your ass off for those 25 deals. Now, again, nothing wrong with it. It's a living. I mean, you're doing better than most Americans. And if you found that, and there's some people that don't have multi-million dollar listings in their region. And I'm not going to fault anyone for that either. I'm just saying that if you're going to start marketing and you're really looking to try and like get into a particular market, to me, it makes a lot more sense to try and go with a higher dollar value. That's all. I mean, and that's why you'll hear me talk about the fact that I'm the poorest guy in the richest neighborhood, which means I'm still better than so many. I'm blessed. I really am. I recognize that. I've got so much more and I've certainly have everything that I've ever needed, and certainly most of everything that I've ever wanted. And I know most people can't say that. I'm a lucky guy. That said, I've seen some people who are in the billions in what they've got. And so we need to kind of take stock in all of this. Um, Let me also just say this, that when a multi-million dollar deal blows up, it fucking sucks. There's no other way to put it. I mean, it really does. And Dina is off with a client this morning, but we had a deal going on. They were asking $5,950,000. My buyer, $5,950,000, but include the furniture. They're like, okay, we'll get back to you later today. Now they're like, okay, you've been outbid. We're at $6,050,000 or $100,000 higher. Fine, let's raise it to $6,125,000. That'll get him $75,000 more. The guy didn't care about the furniture, so that was already not such an issue. Um, okay, great. Is that going to be your full and final? I'm like, yeah, well, it may be full and final, but we know full and final is a little soft here. Let me know. Next guy comes back to them and says $6,175,000, and that's my full and final, and you're going to accept it right now. And they did. Ed, tell them we'll go to 6.3. Yeah, no, we're not getting that. Talk about, wow, I felt like a big fat loser at that point. That really stunk. I was really upset. That was something that really got me upset that it didn't work. That's the bad news. That's how we beat ourselves up. That's the head game that we play. Guess what? I'm taking this buyer out to look at $10 million listings on Saturday. The game is not over. Okay. And that other property that they really loved, that's an inspection right now. The game is not over. So we could beat ourselves up. This will be among my biggest deals this year if I actually get it. I tend to talk about the biggest things that I do, as all of us do. I'm just honest about it. Okay. As all of us, we want everyone to know about this, but it does hurt when you actually lose it. Why? I think that this goes to the heart about why so many of you are only focusing on the $200,000 to $500,000 range. They're everywhere. There's lots of them, and if you lose it, you're not going to feel like a big fat loser, like I did the other day. But if you really stop and think about it, it's got to be a certain level of volume that you get on both ends. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I want to definitely let you in on this. Here's another thing that stops people: your feeling of belonging. I've heard more clients when I work with you one on one say to me, yeah, Ed, but you swing in those circles. I don't. It was a very profound thing to say that I don't swing in those circles. Um, yeah, true. It might be the case. And indeed, because people do socialize, you do go a little bit farther. On the other hand, there's just as many people that don't want to lower themselves to hanging out with a realtor. Okay. I mean, I know what I am. Some people don't look at that and they don't have the highest respect for people that are in sales. And there's plenty of them out there. They might just want somebody to just do the job and not be their best friend. In fact, I think a lot of them feel that way. So understand that if you end up saying, well, I don't swing in those circles, you need to realize that you've become the barrier to your own success. You've become the one that's actually stopped it. What if you're right? Well, you're no worse off than you are now. But if you're wrong, you're missing out on what could be some phenomenal listings and some phenomenal opportunities. So, um, workbook. Actually, Eitan, I saw your hands. Did you have a question before I get to the workbook?
Yes, I was wondering about Zillow. Is Zillow a good way to actually break through to the luxury market?
Okay, interesting. I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad because the Zillow question actually came up. I'm not nuts about Zillow, but I'm not going to let my bias ring through. I want to read you what ChatGPT said to me this morning about Zillow, and I encourage all of you to go to your AI and ask the question, and depending upon how you pose it, let me just go right here. Um, hold on, where's it?
Just so you know, like I'm in a very high end zip code, and I try to advertise on Zillow 33154 in Miami Beach, and it was just out of control how expensive it was.
Okay, so you're right. So what Zillow says, if I invest a $10,000 a year, which I know many people do, Zillow says that they're going to get a 3 to 5 times gross ROI. This is what they claim. For every dollar you spend, agents earn $3 to $5 in commissions. So the claimed gross commission, if you spend $10,000, you're actually getting um, fifteen to $30,000 in return. Well, that's sorry, in the net commission. If you actually net out what it costs, what ChatGPT says is if you're spending that, you're really looking at a much lower volume. Now, Aton, you might be saying, well, that's still profit, right? Hello?
Not much, but yes, it's still
But
positive cash flow.
that's exactly the point. That if you're looking at this, let's go on the low end for a second. You spend $10,000 to reach the luxury space on Zillow, and you're bringing in $15,000, 15 to 30. It could also be zero. I mean, you could end up spending a lot of money and getting absolutely nothing. To me, I'd much rather call up Hassan and Mark and people that might be freezing right now that have people moving to Florida and say, hey, buddy, who do you got? I'll give you 35 cents on the dollar. Well, I probably won't. I mean, I paid 25 cents on the dollar, but you might actually realize that you're better off making a deal with someone than actually going to Zillow and doing it. Again, this is just the statistics that came out. For some people, Zillow works really, really well. I'm not saying that, it's just totally throw a cow at it. I'm saying for the luxury space, you're getting a lot of people that are kicking tires, but not a lot of people that are going to choose you as their broker. Does that make sense? Who here is advertised on Zillow? Anybody? Okay, Aton, Dirk, anyone I'm going to get to Dirk in a second, but anyone? Okay, Jonathan, can you tell us?
We've tried it in the past and have had zero success with it, Edmund. All that they typically tell us is we're not spending enough and we need to keep spending more in order to get better leads because we never get any good leads.
How much did you spend? Can I ask? What was your monthly spend?
It's several years ago, Edmund. I don't really remember, but it was enough that it was more than we wanted to spend, and it was frustrating because they promised us X, and when we didn't get X, they said, "Oh, well, the reason you're not getting X is because you need to spend more. You need a bigger percentage, blah, blah, blah." And we just dropped it at that point. My issue with Zillow, especially in the higher end market, is 80% of the business that Jane and I do is relationship driven. And
Mm.
when you get a Zillow lead, there is zero loyalty. There's zero relationship. You are just a commodity. And I have an issue with that. I think if you're more transactional, Edmund, if you're doing a ton of transactions a year and that's how you make your living, and as you said, that's a perfectly good way to do it. Maybe Zillow works, but I think for the conversation that we're having today, where we're trying to upscale into our given market's luxury space, higher end space, I don't necessarily think Zillow is the way to go.
Okay, Dirk, a counterpoint.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
I used to buy Zillow leads for my team members,
Can
and
I
I was
ask what
just
you were
kind of giving
spending?
them. Say that again.
Can I ask what you were spending?
I was around 12 to 1300 a month, right in
Okay.
that range. At the time, we probably broke even or made a little bit on our leads. Um, I should probably get back into it because I've converted a lot of those Zillow leads into a second or third closing. So I'm definitely up all in all on it.
Okay. But it's interesting that you say we kind of made a little or broke even. That's a tall, I mean, think about it. You're advertising. Advertising, it just seems to me that it's a lot of money. But again,
It
I
is.
don't tell people what not to do. Zillow is a proven tool for many people. Some people swear by it, but it just seems a bit. Kenny, were you going to chime in on
Right.
something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, when Zillow first came out, things were happening, but I also was a associate manager for a couple of brokerages, Element for one, and Berkshire Hathaway. But I remember when it first came out, two guys in my office, they took turns trying to. They didn't want to miss anything, so they were on duty like 24/7 and took turns doing that. And they got a call from a guy, and he wanted to see this architectural up in Pacific Palisades. One of them meant to meet him, and he turned out to be a student that came off of a bus. It was an architectural school. He just wanted to see the property. So we don't know where they're. So the point is, in a sense, we don't know where they're at in the system, where how far they're into, how real they are, or where they're at to like take these leads and make them real, or where they're at in the process if they just started. So it's a good thing, but it takes a lot of work. I've not done it. So, but a
Okay.
number of agents I know have. Yeah.
The three biggest barriers that agents come to me with. Barrier one, and I have this in the workbook for you. Credibility gap. I've never sold at that price. Okay. How would you like to be a builder whose approach to build the Empire State Building? It's never been built. Under the theory that it hasn't been done before, then it's never going to be done. Like at what point, okay, I build buildings here, but never way up there. At some point, you're going to cross a certain threshold. So keep that in mind. Two, barrier two, the access gap. I don't know any luxury buyers. Okay. These are important questions for you to write down and think about because you now can build a strategy around getting past that. And three, my market isn't luxury. That's going to be the toughest one. If you want to get into the luxury space and you just don't live in the luxury space, you're going to have to either change markets or figure out a way to actually create it. But those are the three things that I keep hearing from agents nationwide. I don't know if any of that resonates with any of you. If it does, please chime in because I'd love to hear. I mean, or is there another reason that you might want to share? Something I'm missing? Anyone? Ferris Bueller. Who is that? No? Okay. I thought it was somebody. In any case, we've got here, so great. We've got all these questions. We do have within the workbook several different prompts that you're going to probably want to try. And I say this to you because I've always said to all of you, you need to use your AI. I'd like you to use it without your husband or wife. I'd like it to be your own account so that the AI actually gets to know you and who you are. Eitan's smiling because he and his wife share an account. But there really is something to be said about the 20 bucks a month spent just on you. Why? Because the AI does start to make notes about who you are, what you do, and it has the context of who you are so that when you add things like prompts to it, it will answer in a much closer manner to what you are like. So, in other words, if we know that Jonathan or that Greg is a fisherman and they love fishing and they love the outdoor world and they love all of this type of stuff, and you've got someone that you're actually making a pitch to, it might bring that little point in to kind of be a little bit more personalized, which you may or may not like, but it's something to consider. Look, it starts on page 4. Does everyone have the workbook? Eitan, if not, can you just shoot it out to Hedika? No, you don't have it? Was that a no? No, you don't. Okay, so let's get that on the chat again. Um, so prompt 1, I like this one, the market ladder analysis. I just printed it too small. Act like a luxury real estate market analyst. I'm an agent looking to move up market, and then you name your city, in my case, Boca Raton, Delray Beach. My current average price point is 1.3 million or whatever your price is. I primarily sell in St. Andrews Country Club. The luxury threshold of my market is approximately 5 to 10 million. And then please analyze the logical ladder price points between my current level and the luxury. Identify 3 or 4 stepping stones. This will actually come up with ideas for you based on what it knows about you. See, the reason why these prompts actually become valuable is not so much that there's magic in these words. Any one of you could have written this. It's the fact that the AI already has the context on you, which is why I beg all of you every month, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or one of them, for goodness sakes, just subscribe or just use it in the very least. Even the free versions know who you are. But just really stay committed to the actual process. And what you're going to find is it's going to be a true partner in the marketing process. Okay. We're going to be talking a little bit more about skills. Right now, Claude has come up with something called skills, which is essentially instructions, extended prompting instructions that get saved in a particular area within Claude. Guess what? ChatGPT's coding platform, which is called Codex, I promise this is as technical as I'm getting, so don't glaze over just yet, guys, now just introduced a little subset called skills. And it didn't want to admit to me that it was Anthropic that came up with it. I'm like, oh, this is just like Claude skills. It's like, well, it's similar to Claude skills. I'm like, yeah, but Anthropic came up with the idea. Well, and then it admitted, well, yes, it was Anthropic. Guess what? Everything is going the route of skills. This is going to become the standard. So you're going to hear me talk about it more and more this year about skills and creating extended prompts. We're going to probably go through that. We might do that next week, but just be ready for it because it really does get down to the heart of who you are and how you're going to be able to respond within the luxury space. So great, we have that. Then we're going to also identify people who's in the neighborhood that could actually be the lead source. Luxury space, who's the lead source for you? Jorge, who's going to give you a luxury lead?
Maybe you?
Okay,
I
maybe
don't know.
me. You know what? You're right. If you're not my territory, I damn well might. Who else? What are the
Uh,
category of business?
Not 100% sure, to be honest.
Good, honest answer. Good,
Hmm.
honest answer. Greg just unmuted himself. He's all excited. Go ahead, Greg. What advice do you give Jorge?
Well, I'm looking at your workbook and stealing ideas from that, but I would have thought some of them on my own. Um, estate attorneys or private money,
Private
um,
money, big.
um, CPAs. I mean, in your doctors. Um, my dentist gave me a referral that I haven't converted yet, but it's going to be a seven-figure referral. So those are some sources.
Okay, show of hands. Who knows their insurance broker that sells them insurance? Just show of hands right now. One, two, three, four. Dirk doesn't know. Five. Okay. Who has an accountant that they know that does their accounting work? Okay. Livette knows their accountant. Kenny, John. Okay, great. Who has a pretty good relationship with their doctor? That they know them by name, that they'll recognize them in the street. Okay, very, very good. We've got that. Who's got a relationship with a mortgage broker or a title company that they know? Okay. Who's got a relationship with someone that owns a company that has more than 10 employees? Okay, more than 20 employees. Okay, great. You just named a ton of lead sources. And by the way, the first five of them, the mortgage broker, the accountant, the life insurance, the regular insurance, the health insurance, um, whatever private service provider you have, your personal trainer, these are people that you're paying. Okay, you want to know who you're going to call right after this meeting? You're going to call the people that you're paying because other people are paying them too, and they know firsthand what's going on. And you're going to be able to say this to them. Now, ask me the last time I got a lead from my CPA. It's been a while. I haven't really done that. But my CPA here in Florida, I've got one for my wife's business because she has a separate business. He gives me leads all the time. He's been fantastic. My CPA in New Jersey, where he lives in New Jersey, my New York CPA, not a single lead from the guy. So if you have not gotten it, don't worry, you're among friends here. But I'm just saying to you right now, if you want the easiest way to make a cold call, to go out and get somebody, think about who you're already paying. Now, who finds that to be like monumental thought? Anyone think that's a pretty cool thought?
So if those
Yeah.
people don't give me leads, should I
You should
find new
beat them.
people?
You should beat them with a brick. I'm kidding. No, if those
No,
people don't
so
give,
I mean, it makes sense to like go with people that help you out.
it does make sense. I knew a guy in New York who sold life insurance. He hired 10 CPAs to do the same tax return, and he would tell them not to file the return. He only filed one of them. And he said, let's do the math. $800 or $500. I don't know what it costs for a single return anymore, but let's say it's $500. $500 a return. The guy does a simple return for me. 10 people, that's $5,000. He went out to lunch with them. He even systemized this. He went out to lunch with them once a quarter. Dirk, how are you, baby? Let me take you for lunch. I'd love to get together with you. Off tax season, everyone ignores the CPA. Nobody cares about them. They love to get lunch with the guy. And he worked through that once a quarter. He had 10 different lunches. So it's roughly, every week and a half or whatever it was, he had lunch with somebody every week, whatever it was. And at the end of the year, if somebody was a real lead source for him, he kept going. If somebody tried, he kept going. If somebody just didn't even give a damn, he'd move on and then pick up another CPA. I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. Somebody asked about the ethics of it. I don't know. It's a little silly. I mean, the guy is paying you to do a return, even though you're not submitting each one of those returns, obviously. But it seems like a pretty interesting approach to me that if you're trying to actually get in with a certain set of people, you've got the ability to now hire this guy and hopefully make a deal. I, again, not the way I would necessarily do things, but I would be very curious if any of you wanted to give that a try. I would be very curious. In the very least, you should probably start with the people that you're already paying. So just think that through. If you have people that you're paying money to, you should expect to try and go a little bit beyond that. Oh, look at this. Mark Lawrence got all excited. He raised his hand. Go ahead, Mark. Tell everyone who you are and where you are.
Yeah, Mark Lawrence. I'm in the title insurance business after having been an agent and an attorney and everything else. Out on Long Island in New York.
Okay.
Um, I would say actually what I've seen when I was an agent at the Corcoran Group back in the early 2000s was a lot of people. I mean, either you know paying the doorman for information and
Yeah.
leads was or buying them actually back in the days when people went to the movies. They used to get them cards to go to the movies for four, a family of four. That would work fine. And I've even seen, people, you want to get into a luxury building, buy an apartment in that luxury building if you can. But so go where the places where the people you want to do business, are. If it's local restaurant where people are, or
Mark,
a gym, etc.
I'm gonna pick Greg a second, but I'm glad you brought that up. How many places did you live in?
I've lived in I mean, when I lived in Manhattan, I would move every year. Actually, that was my uh that was my calling card. I said, keep your possessions light and I'd be ready to go in a year. So I probably in 18 years in Manhattan lived in 14 apartments.
Okay, so 14
Mhm.
apartments in 18 years, aside from being best of friends with the moving company. And by the way, we got to
Mhm.
mention moving companies to that
Yeah.
list. How much business were you able to get from each of those moves?
Every building I went in, there was new people to talk to, new
Did you
relationships
land
to
business
get.
each time?
I wouldn't say each time, but certain buildings were better than others.
Okay. So there
Yes.
is something to the proximity of it. This is why I always say I'm the poorest guy in the richest neighborhood. I love living here
It's also
because
very good to get to know a neighborhood. If you move to it and you walk around, because in New York City, most neighborhoods are, most people don't go more than 5 blocks in each direction. So it's kind of a 20 block, range and, work it local.
okay, we're gonna get Levette in a second, but I think we had Greg. Greg, did you have an open question? You had your hand
Well,
up.
I did, I thought of another lead source that I have not leveraged in a long time, but
Okay.
this meeting is going to make me get back into it. And that is the boutique and high-end hotels. Get to know the doorman, get to know the bellman, get to know the desk clerk. I take these cool little bundt cupcakes with cream cheese frosting, and give them to them and hand out cards, and it used to be a great lead source, so you need to get back into it.
And to take it one step further, you could also consider the concierge at any hotel. The concierge people literally come to them with maps saying, where should I look for property in this
Yes.
particular town? And yet they are largely ignored by a lot of people. So how you get into them, that's a whole other story. That's where we could talk about building bridges here. But Greg, I'll pick you in a second. Lavette, you have your hands up. You've been waiting patiently. How are you,
Yeah,
Lavette?
I actually had a question from Mark about the moving company. So I wanted to know what specifically, well, who are you specifically targeting with, because these are people moving into a house or an apartment. So are you looking for people specifically moving into apartments and targeting them for maybe home ownership or
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, I was able to refer them business. But again, then it keeps you top of mind, for them. Yes, they often get calls when, well, sometimes, when it's close to the move, but they're good for relationships, I'll just say in
got
general,
you?
because they know
Okay,
people that, right, are going in or going out. So some of them,
got you.
are,
Okay,
get the business development person at the moving company, I would say, or the salesperson, the external sales. A lot of them have internal that call out, but if
mhm,
there's a guy that's working the network of agents and stuff like that, that person could be good.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Thank you, Mark. And Greg now put in car services. He's actually right. That would be very good. Anybody, look, more than anything else, what's more important? Somebody who has the leads or somebody who might not have as many leads, but has a willingness to call you back every time, has a willingness to try. That, some people, my CPA, it's just not in his mind. He's a great guy. He's a very good CPA too. Um, it's just not in his mindset to bother. That's just not who he is. And it's very difficult to sell beyond that. So part of this challenge that all of us have is to figure out who's going to be that great lead source and what is the characteristic of them. Dina has a friend. My God, I love this woman. She's given us 3 deals that have closed in the last year. This is a gift that keeps on giving. We love this person. And we need to be able to facilitate that and see, A, what's really in it for her? Why is she making those introductions? How can this be replicated? And I said to Dina, that's it. If you could get 10 of her, if you get 5 of her, you won't need to spend another penny on marketing. You really won't. Like, what is it about that? And I think all of you have some relationships other than mom and dad or your brother or your friends or your best friend or boyfriend or spouse or girlfriend, whatever it might be, that have given you leads consistently or have certainly tried. What Here's your assignment if you're willing to take it. Write it down. What are the characteristics of that person? What are they really trying to do? How are you going to really go from point A to point B? You may have other people in your life, like my dad, for example. Again, he's aging and he's not been so great. But when he was much younger, he was never a good lead source for me. In fact, a friend of his bought a beautiful place in Miami, and he said, "Oh yeah, I was talking to him about the agents there." I'm like, "Yeah, hi. Let me introduce myself. My name's Edmund. I'm your son." He's like, "Yeah, but you're mostly Boca Raton." It didn't even occur to him. Now, is he a bad dad? Absolutely not. He's a phenomenal man, wonderful man. It just sometimes the people that we're closest to just don't think of you. And I discovered that it was actually a very good lesson here at St. Andrews. Oh, my son just bought in Delray. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, Ed, you work Delray? I'm like, yeah. If I just worked here, I'd die from starvation. I need to actually work a lot of different areas. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. So, again, great education. People don't know. Mark and then Jonathan. Go ahead, Mark. You just need to unmute yourself.
Yep, sure. And also don't forget some of those old connections, and keeping them warm. For example, in 2003, I used to attend a networking group by the name of Breakfast Network, that was produced by this amazing guy named Edmund Bogen, and that's 23 years ago. Last night, actually, I was at an event, that was a law firm event on Long Island. Two gentlemen invited me. I met them through Edmund Bogen in Breakfast Network 23 years ago. They've been clients of mine for many years. And of course, at the event, this guy, David Bressler, who I also met.
You saw him last
So
night?
I saw him last night. He
I'll
said
talk to you about
hello.
that after. I haven't seen him
Yes.
in years. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 83.
Yeah.
So, old connections, revive them. Actually, I had somebody reach out to me the other day from, Edmund's group that he used to run 20 years ago, looking for an appraiser contact. So sometimes, as I said, refresh old leads, old connections. They're still warm. They might be colder, but if you had a relationship in the past, revive that. And then, oh, I'm glad you called me because I could use, or somebody was looking for that. So definitely move those older leads back up to the top and utilize, even here, like if we look around, I'm sure most of you haven't gotten on a call with other people in other areas. So utilize this network and every other network that you have, especially when you have downtime instead of reading nonsense. You could play with Claude and other things, but if you make a couple phone calls, you'd be surprised, what would happen.
It is, and at the same time, Mark, let me throw the counter argument to you here. See what you say. How do I keep up with all those people? Or I haven't spoken to someone. Jorge has a friend that he knew in high school. Jorge is a lot closer to high school than I am, but he hasn't spoken to the guy. And how does he just pick up the phone and call the guy?
Yeah, I mean, I would say at the crux of everything, make sure you have people put your contact information in a central place. Keeping a good, database contact list is number one. I utilize LinkedIn a lot, actually. That's people when they change jobs nowadays, they don't always tell you where they went, but they do update their LinkedIn. So it's always kind of a good place to know where people are. And then even, from social media feeds, how many of those little, not necessarily like, but actually, writing a little comment to somebody, it puts you top of mind. So I'd say use social media, make sure you have a good contact list, and different things. Even yesterday, I was driving to this event and I knew it was somebody's birthday. I look at the birthdays on Facebook every day, and instead of just hitting the auto happy birthday, pick up the phone and call someone. You
Sure.
never, they're so surprised and happy sometimes to hear from you, or they're not.
If we're talking about personal relationships, how many personal relationships can you have and maintain comfortably? This is a neuroscience experiment that was done. Anyone want to have a guess? Like people that you could instantaneously call and they will instantaneously call you back. You think three. Okay, it's a little bit more aggressive than that. But Greg says three. Who's got some thoughts?
I,
Mark.
I'd say 80.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Less than 10.
Okay. Now, maybe I need to be clear about it. Yes, the people that love you, the people that are really truly your fans, but the people that you actually know, the actual science says 150. That there's 150 people that you know on a personal basis, that they know you, and that after that, the ability to know many more begins to break down. That you actually have the capacity for 150 people. Again, feel free to question it, and that's fine. Um, when you have time, you might want to Google the small world phenomenon. This was a study done by a couple of sociologists that actually found out that if that they're the ones that actually help prove the whole 6 degrees of separation. Has everyone heard the saying 6 degrees of separation? It was a good movie as well, a good book. Okay, so
Yeah.
six degrees of separation. What it's essentially saying is that I am no more than 6 degrees away from being connected to anyone else that's on the planet. Um, the real number is actually 4.27 something. And who proved that? The phone companies.
Mhm.
Because they actually have real connections that went to people. Um, so I've got friends that are friends with Donald Trump. I personally am not friends with Donald Trump, but I know people who are friends with Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is in my second degree. Since all of you could pick up the phone and call me, Donald Trump is in your third degree. And maybe with someone else, he's in a higher degree. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. We do have those connections. It doesn't mean that you're going to get connected to them. But it does mean that there is a motivation. If I know that Hassan's friend or girlfriend or wife or whoever it might be is connected to someone, the bridge that we actually have to connect is not whether you could pick up and call Hassan. You can, and I tell everyone you should. You should get to know one another in this meeting. The question is, how do you actually build a bridge to be able to get them to give you that lead? That's really the secret behind all of this. If you're really able to truly be able to do that. Now, today, as Mark was pointing out, everything is transparent. We all have Facebook and social media, and we see stuff when things expire, expired listings. You want to try something really cool? Look up the expired listings today in your area and then get those. If you find an automation, and I know I could do it, you could probably figure it out too. Get the names of the people whose properties have expired and run it through your LinkedIn and run it through social media. So now I know that Mark is connected to Jonathan, whose property just expired unsold. Wait a minute. Mark, does he really know Jonathan? If he does, yeah, I really do know Jonathan. I speak to him all the time. Great. What is now going to be the bridge that I could get Mark to make that introduction to Jonathan? Do you guys understand how close you are to success with all this? Do you understand how close you are to those relationships? Because as soon as you do, suddenly you're going to wake up and you're going to want to like do all these studies and figure out just how can you get connected to these people. That's really the bottom line. We're so close and we just kind of ignore that. Renat, let's take a look. I tried doing that through LinkedIn and got banned doing it. How did you do it? I don't know what you did. Renat, unmute and tell everybody he's working out again. So don't everyone get too excited. He's a very, very sexy man. But go,
I don't know about that. But basically, what I do is like I I take a list of all the expires and for sale by owners in a certain price point, certain market. And since I can door knock them, if I call them and I can't reach them, I try to upload the list into LinkedIn and connect with them. And then LinkedIn basically banned me 3 times for doing it. Well, they
Okay.
didn't say why, but as soon as I did it, I got banned.
Okay. I
So
think we need to come up with a different way for you to do it. I'm not,
Are you
I
paying for LinkedIn?
I was paying, yeah. I was on a premium on the
You were
lower
banned
tier
as a paid
subscription.
member?
Yeah,
God, you must be a real
three
prick.
times.
You know?
But I mean, mind you, I uploaded probably 1,000 contacts or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe more. I don't know. But I got banned right away, within like a day.
Wow.
I think no
So
more than 20 a day, actually, they
Yeah.
yeah,
say, actually.
Yeah.
but hold on. In Renat's defense here, he's a professional salesman that makes cold calls. A lot of you are not, and he's done very, very well, both in the United States and Canada, doing that. Again, I would say he's kind of the outlier because most of you come here not because you want to make cold calls. But Renat, if you want to try it just a step further, if you could do it, Mark said 20 a day. I'm with Mark. I think if you could actually slow it down just a little bit, and together we could probably build an automation to be able to actually, I kind of like this idea to build an automation to be able to scrub the information from LinkedIn to see how people are connected. Because again, going back with that Mark and Jonathan example, if I know Mark is connected to Jonathan, the goal to reach Jonathan is no longer just cold calling the guy. It's figuring out what I could do with Mark to get him to make that introduction. By the way, I throw that out to you. Who's got an idea? Now we know Mark knows Jonathan. Jonathan's home just expired. It's a good one because Jonathan's a big shot. So it's a good one that just expired. What could I possibly say to Mark to make that introduction to me? And the silence is the reason. Okay. Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything to say. But
Okay.
there's an agent down in San Diego. He just goes out to the golf club a couple of days a week and just waits to try to get into a foursome. He worked his way up to $10 million homes doing that. So
My
that's
kind
a
of guy.
yeah.
I like that. But we're still stuck with Mark here. Mark's got to get in with Jonathan and doesn't know what to do. Any thoughts? Come on, guys, not that tough. Just try anything. Throw it out there. I'll give you $1.
Can I take a crack at it? I
Go
mean,
ahead,
I'll
take
tell
a
you what
crack
I
at it,
do.
Renat.
Usually, I look through their profile or check them out. If it's a good, if it's a really like expensive deal, if it's something cheap, I don't care. I just figure out a way how to get in front of them. But if it's something unique, I figure out what they like. I look at their LinkedIn profile. I have kids. I want to see if they have kids. I want to see if they go to any synagogues near me. I want to see basically, I study them. I learn their company. And then I try to figure out a way how to be in front of them. I mean, it sounds a little bit like stalking,
Yes.
but I call myself a professional stalker for real estate, really. So,
Well,
um,
yeah.
but that's what I do. I pretty much, it's like going to war. I educate myself on my sort of, I don't want to say enemy, but somebody whom I'm going to conquer.
Say that again. I didn't hear that.
I try to educate myself about whoever that I'm trying to get a business from. So when I meet them, I also don't want to appear like a stalker, but in the back of my mind, I know everything about them. I know what they like. I guess whatever they put in their public profile, and it's actually a lot.
Okay. Well, look, there's many different ways to actually get in there. The first thing you do is actually try and ask. The second thing is yeah, I'll look this up here. Let me just give you a great example. Um, who knows Reese? David Rice? Anyone? Actually, Greg, you do because you're connected to him. That's why I'm throwing it out there. I'm looking on your LinkedIn. So sometimes that happens too. Uh, but I'm just throwing it out there. Greg, you seem to know this guy, or at least you did at one point. Maybe you can make that introduction. If you actually look at someone's LinkedIn and you find the name, first of all, just start by asking. It's not that tough. Secondly, say to yourself, what's in it for them? How could you actually build a mutual referral relationship with somebody? So if I call up Jonathan and say, look, I want to do like a 5-minute meeting with you every month and we could go over leads that we have. It might sound a little crazy. John would probably say, John, would you say yes to that? Maybe?
Yep.
Okay. You're allowed to say no. Most people will say yes, though. Most people will actually take a look at that. Look, the real reason all this works is because the alternative has been nothing. The alternative has been that you're just not, you're going to go about doing things the exact same way. I'm trying to give all of you ideas to be able to reach out and find the people that actually are the lead sources. We know the money managers, we know financial advisors, we know lawyers, we know mortgage brokers, we know all those people. You have all these services that you're paying into. If you know your life insurance guy, for God's sakes, they're in life insurance. Woody Allen did a great joke about them. The guy was locked in solitary confinement as a punishment in one of his movies, Take the Money and Run. And he was locked in solitary confinement with a life insurance salesman. That's the stereotype that we have. Go
Edmund,
to
what you just said a few minutes ago was a point that I wanted to make earlier. Whether it's your accountant, whether it's your doctor, the
yeah.
easiest way to get them to refer business to you is refer business to them first.
Mhm.
Just start, Jane and I have several deals, a couple with our insurance guy, another one with one of our doctors. It's easy to ask them for business or for them to think about giving you business when you have given them business. And
Yeah.
as opposed to relying on the relationship that since they work for you, they're going to refer to you.
Mhm.
That doesn't work as well as if you have, as you just said, a mutual referral type relationship. Refer business to your insurance guy, get clients for him, and in return, he'll get clients for you. At least it's worked for us.
Or she.
Or she.
I just had to throw that in. Um, okay, we're gonna get going with just a couple of other things. Meeting next week is going to be exactly what I was talking about before. Skills, AI skills, Claude skills, ChatGPT skills. Skills are going to be the word now. We were really thinking that it was going to be just automation. It's not. It's really an assist. I'm going to be giving you skills that you could put in. We're going to together work through what a skill is, how easy it is to actually create it, and even if you don't have Claude, how you can currently use it with ChatGPT. I would bet, I'll bet $50 that ChatGPT is going to introduce its own version of skills within the next 3 months. So I feel like very excited by getting you ahead of the curve. No one else is talking about this. I will. Skills are the future for how to use AI. Eitan and I are doing it all the time. I'm making great workbooks that you get with skills. My newsletter goes out with skills. We've been able to crank this stuff out. So next Wednesday, 9 a.m. We might do it on Friday as well. I know, Eitan, we need to talk about the Friday schedule as well. We're going to be getting that out, but at the very least, I'd love to be able to.
Do make the reference between Betamax and
Yeah, okay.
VHS.
And the best example, as we pointed out, for those of you who are old enough, Talia probably won't remember because she's so young. It's great. But there was once upon a time, young lady, a a service, a videotape that was Betamax, and after that came VHS, VHS one. They were two competing technologies. VHS became the thing. Now you don't even have videotapes anymore. We went to CDs. And now we don't even have that. Now we've got streaming. But the point is, at the time, Betamax became the dominant tool. What Aton is saying here is,
No, VHS did.
sorry, forget that. I'm a little crazy. VHS became the dominant tool. We're seeing right now, Skills has become the latest tool, and I believe that they have won. That's what I'm betting on at this point because I believe that they've come up with a system that all of you could use no matter what AI you're using. So that's what we want to do. Skills next week. I hope you could do that. Wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. So I could brag all I want. I'd love to hear from all of you about what you
I
got.
have a need. I have a need
Okay,
for
what is your need,
referrals.
Aton?
I need referrals.
Okay.
I need referrals for REIGNation. I need you guys to refer other realtors to our network. Not only realtors, also business people that want to have access to AI innovation.
Okay. I don't disagree with that. That would be very, very nice. And all of you know realtors too. Okay, and now everyone's putting their names in here and their telephone number. That's a great idea. By the way, if anybody wants to reach out to any of you, you could certainly reach out to me as well. But yes, Eitan does have a point. We really do want to grow the network and grow it significantly. So if you have people that would be great. If any of you, the Eitan, was that it? That was Eitan's point? Something like
That's
that?
it.
Thank you.
I mean, I got
Um,
more, but I won't burden you.
okay. I've got a brag. I'm now developed when we're going to launch it pretty soon. And anybody ever been on a podcast? Okay, one. Does anybody want to be on a podcast? Would anybody like to be
Yeah.
a guest on a podcast? Okay, so what I'm developing is there's 3.4 million podcasts out there. Most of them suck, but a lot of them don't. I've created an app that you could actually search podcasts, save them in your own library, and then based on the context of yourself, put out a proposal and it will automatically follow up with those people to get you as a guest on the podcast. I can almost guarantee that you'll get it. Why? Because they're desperate for guests. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, I am trying to beta test it. I need people who would like to have themselves on a podcast. Please reach out to me directly. Everyone's putting their number in here, so I will do the same thing. And I think it's a good idea.
Eton, what city are you in again?
Miami Beach, Florida,
Oh, I thought
Surfside,
you
north
were
of
okay.
Miami.
I
Yeah,
thought
but
you were in Europe as
And
well. Yeah.
yeah, I'm also in Lisbon, Portugal,
Okay.
and I'm
Okay.
currently in Luxembourg.
Whoa. Okay.
and Kenny, do you know what language they speak in Luxembourg?
I don't know, Luxembourgish.
But
Yes,
Luxembourgish.
yes,
Look at you.
absolutely.
Way to go, Kenny.
Bravo.
Wow. Who knew that?
It's like it's like
That's
when I
very
traveled to
good.
Italy. You keep going up and it just turns into Austrian, but
Okay.
it's in the between. There's languages that are half and half. So
The
So
locals are called burgers.
so who else? Let's go through all this. Talia, any want, need, or brag? Maybe.
uh
Kind of, sort of, Talia. You got it. Hi. Can you hear us?
Sorry, I'm in
Okay.
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks.
Yeah, I don't have any. I guess I just need to be more confident in talking to the luxury market. I found that in order to even get close to it, I have to have referrals. Um, I guess I just want people to see me as a luxury expert. So I'm trying to get more, I don't know what's the word, more confident in speaking up for myself.
Okay. It's good. That's a good, honest answer.
yeah.
You just said what most people won't have the guts to say. Okay. Me included, by the way. So it takes time, but you'll get there. And we can certainly talk about it a little bit more. Wants, needs, or brags? Anyone else?
My wife just made her 100th podcast.
Your
So if
wife
you
made
want
her
to talk,
100th podcast. Okay.
yeah.
So there we have
But
it.
it's specialized into green technologies, green buildings. Me brags. I'm writing a $5 million offer today. And
Okay. Hey,
I don't
great
think
way
it's
to
going to go
go.
through there. We're far apart at the moment.
Shut up. It's going through. It's going
I
Hey,
through.
just went up,
Kenny. Hey,
yeah,
Kenny, do you know anything about carbon credits?
carbon credit. No, I just try to keep my credit good. But my wife probably will tell you. We've traveled the whole country. She's traveled more than me. She just came back from
So
Japan.
carbon credits are about carbon sequestration,
Right.
and I'm in that market. So
Oh, cool.
if your wife knows anything about it, I'd love to talk to her.
Maybe she could interview you for one of her podcasts. She just got the top award for the year from the USGBC, which is United States Green Building Council.
Okay,
She got the,
beer and
but
chips.
anyway,
You guys
yeah,
get beer and chips and talk about it. I
got
want
it.
to keep this meeting going here. Anyone else? Peggy, Renat, Levette, Jorge, Gianni. I mean, anybody have a want, need, or brag? Cynthia and
Hey,
Nia.
Edmund, this isn't it's not a
Okay.
want, need, or brag, but I was looking at the map, and I know in the past, um, so what's the current process to get on that map? I didn't see myself on there.
So
Our
please email me. Email me. I put my email address there.
Got it.
So
Okay.
I posted the member map in the chat. So everybody's welcome to check it out.
Thank you. That's been something that's on me. We've neglected the map. We have a Google map with everyone's name and bio and all that. And if you could send Aton Aton at benzeno.com. I love the fact that he has his last name as domain. Um, if you could send him your photograph, your bio, and a little blurb, he will get you onto the members map. It's literally a Google map. Again, we got to dig that thing back up because we've been focusing on other
It's
stuff
a Google Map with all the members,
with all the members. Correct.
and we
Oh,
need
oh,
to revive it and
yeah.
update it. So
Which,
please send me all your information, Aton at benzeno.com, and we will update the map and put it on our website.
yeah, would absolutely love that. Okay, 10 o'clock. Anything else? Terry's not been around. I know that he's been had a family issue and he's been away, but we've not sung ourselves out of this in a long time. It makes me a little sad. I'll get over it, but I'm still a little sad. I just want to say that.
So let's do it all together, everybody.
Well, before we do that, and there's something unique about Terry doing it. I want to give you just one final thought when it comes to all this stuff. A lot of you are just a bit too hand to mouth when it comes to some of these deals. With this $6 million deal that blew up here, I immediately started driving around the neighborhood because I've got somebody willing to spend between $6 and $10 million on a house, and I'm not going to let that fall through my fingers. And I immediately started writing texts and emails to people in front of the houses saying, well, in one case, uh, Deborah. So I reached out to 10 different people. Everyone was polite. Most people said no. One guy said he checked with his wife. Deborah got back to me and said she needs to check with her husband. Sure, but if they do it, they're gonna have to pay a lot of money. Okay, how much is a lot of money? 10 million. I'm like, okay, you're accounting for closing costs. You know what the closing costs are, guys? Does everyone know what the closing costs are? Me. I love to get paid. You. We okay, closing costs, commissions. Come on, we need to. So yes, we've accounted for all that. Guess what? As crazy as it might sound, 10 million for that property is high, but it's not that high. It's not that crazy. In other words, in their minds, they've got $10 million. It's a big thing. In this market, they've been in there a long time. They didn't realize it. These people may be interested in that house. Now, why do I say that to all of you? You could create something out of nothing. In fact, we should do that. Eitan, let's talk about that. Creating something out of nothing that you actually took somebody who was actually looking, and if Talia, you're not in the top markets here. How much is it going to take to get you to sell your place, Mr. Seller? Oh, I'm not on the market right now. I get it, but everyone has a walkaway price. In other words, at the right dollar amount, we're all a little bit of a prostitute, you know? Come on. Like, what is the dollar amount that would actually get you to do it? And what's funny is a lot of people will answer that question, and they're not that far off from where the market actually is. Now we're engaged. Now this person is actually, so Ed, what did they say? Are they interested in seeing it? Well, wait a minute. They may or may not be, but I know that this person for the right dollar amount is ready to go. And they're going to need another house. That's my final thought for all of you guys. Think about creating something out of nothing. Get a little bit less dependent on the MLS. Okay, so Eitan, you want to sing?
No, I
No,
do not.
Eitan doesn't want to sing. Okay, guys, look.
But if I get some support, I'll do it.
No, you have to do it all by yourself, Eitan.
No.
Because I know you're stage
If
fright.
Kenny goes with me,
Okay.
REIGNation.
REIGNation. Okay.
Okay, so hold on, you guys. We'll do this here, and this is being taped.
you
But
gotta get in there.
also you gotta participate, Ed.
Okay, and this is how I participate. You guys have been to enough meetings. You know this. Kenny and Eitan, get ready. Anyone else who wants to show in. When I'm done with the meeting, I look at all of you and say, it sure was good to see you. I'm really glad that you came, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week for another exciting episode of
REIGNation.
REIGNation.
Oh, they're
Yay.
losers.
Terry's
They
so
are
much better, but
losers.
All
okay.
right, Greg, jump in then.
Okay, guys. Johnny,
It
I'm
needs
going to
to
give you
be
a buzz. Good to see
Yeah,
everybody.
Talia,
REIGNation.
call me. Okay.
Take care. Bye.